You really think that piece of plastic in your wallet makes you immortal? You've spent decades assuming a 24-hour pharmacy is a law of nature. It's not. It's a fragile luxury. Imagine it's 3 a.m. Your child's skin is burning, their fever hitting a dangerous 104. You do what you've been trained to do. You drive. But when you pull into that parking lot, the neon sign is dead. The windows are smashed, the aisles are picked clean, and the pharmacist went home to protect his own family days ago. Suddenly, your high-priced health insurance is just a useless scrap of paper. Modern medicine isn't a god, it's a logistics miracle, and miracles evaporate the moment the trucks stop moving. In a real-world collapse, an infected scratch or a common fever isn't an inconvenience, it's a death sentence. You have zero redundancy because you've outsourced your life to corporations that don't know your name. Biology doesn't care about your convenience, it only cares about the tools you have on hand. If you want to survive 90 days without a doctor, stop seeing your kitchen as a snack bar and start seeing it as a field hospital. I am the Sentinel Fox. Today, we reveal 5 mundane items in your pantry that possess the raw chemistry to save your life when the world stops working. Let's get to work. Most people think their local pharmacy is a fortress of supply. It's not. It's actually more like the bread aisle at your grocery store, stocked for a quiet Tuesday, but empty within hours of a storm. Modern medicine runs on a corporate lie called just-in-time inventory. Big Pharma doesn't stock months of your heart meds or antibiotics because sitting inventory hurts their quarterly profit margins. They stock exactly what they think they'll sell in the next 48 to 72 hours, and that's it. One major fuel strike, one cyber attack on a shipping port, or one massive blackout, and those shelves aren't just empty, they are effectively extinct. Think about where your pills actually come from. Over 90% of the raw ingredients for American medications are made in overseas labs thousands of miles away. You are betting your life on a fragile umbilical cord that stretches across the ocean. When that cord snaps, and history proves it always does, modern medicine effectively evaporates. You've traded your self-reliance for the convenience of a plastic pill bottle. But when the grid goes dark, biology doesn't ask for your insurance provider or your credit score. It only asks what you have on your shelf right now. If your pantry is just for snacks, your countdown has already started. Let's look at the real science sitting in your kitchen. Most of you remember stories from your parents or grandparents about a time before there was a drugstore on every single block. During the Great Depression, when the system didn't just stumble but completely fell apart, your ancestors didn't have the luxury of calling a doctor for every fever or scrape. They survived because they understood something we've forgotten, that the pantry was their first field hospital. This wasn't folk magic or superstition, it was raw biological chemistry. They used raw honey to seal deep wounds because they instinctively knew its high sugar content creates a biological vacuum that dehydrates and kills bacteria. It was a physical barrier that outlasted the crisis. Think back to the front lines of World War II. When supply chains were shredded in the trenches, garlic became so vital for treating infected wounds that it was nicknamed Russian penicillin. They weren't using it for the flavor, they were using it for allicin, a natural chemical compound that attacks pathogens with surgical precision. Our lineage survived famines, wars, and total system crashes not because they had a plastic insurance card, but because they had this tactical knowledge. You've been taught to worship the pill bottle, but your DNA already knows this science. Now that you understand the historical strength behind these items, it's time to move from theory to action. Let's open your pantry and look at the first critical item in your new medical redundancy plan. Item number 1 is raw, unfiltered honey. Most people see a sweetener for tea, but in a medical blackout, this is liquid gold. Honey is the only food on Earth that truly never spoils. Jars found in 3,000-year-old tombs are still edible today. But its real power is chemistry. When modern antiseptic creams are looted, honey becomes your primary biological sealant. Its high sugar content and zero moisture create osmotic shock, literally sucking the moisture out of bacteria cells until they die. It also steady releases hydrogen peroxide when it touches body fluids, acting as a natural shield. If hospitals are closed, you clean the wound, pack it with raw honey, and wrap it. Remember, it must be raw. The clear stuff in plastic bottles is just dead sugar. Look for the cloudy jars. That is your first line of redundancy. Item number 2 is fresh garlic. In a world without pharmacy-grade antibiotics, this is your surgical strike weapon. During World War II, it was nicknamed Russian penicillin for a reason. When you crush a clove, a chemical reaction creates allicin, a compound that attacks bacteria with a precision modern drugs often struggle to match. If you're dealing with internal infections or respiratory issues when the grid is dark, you don't just cook with it, you use it as a chemical hammer. Crush it, let it sit for 10 minutes to activate the allicin, and consume it raw. It's pungent and brutal, but it's a tool that has kept humans alive for 10 millennia without a power grid. Item number 3 is coarse sea salt. We've been taught to fear salt, but in survival, it's the difference between a clean wound and a gangrenous limb. Before modern disinfectants, there was saline. By mixing salt with clean water, you create a solution that mimics your body's fluids, allowing you to flush out bacteria without damaging living tissue. It balances the pH of your mouth to stop dental infections when dentists are no longer taking appointments, and it preserves food when your refrigerator becomes just a heavy metal box. If you don't have 5 pounds of sea salt in your pantry, you are effectively planning to fail. It is the foundation of hygiene when the taps run dry. Reliable information is your only shield in a world of fragile lies. If you find value in this kind of raw intelligence, consider joining our watch. Subscribe now to ensure you never miss a briefing. We look out for our own here. Now, let's look at item number 4. Item number 4 is apple cider vinegar, specifically with the mother. Think of this as your biological multi-tool. In a crisis, your diet will change and your stress will spike, causing your internal chemistry to fail. ACV is a powerful acetic acid that rebalances your gut, killing pathogens before they can take hold. But its tactical use goes further. Dealing with a fungal skin infection with no access to a clinic, a diluted vinegar soak is a chemical deterrent that fungus cannot survive. It's also a potent preservative for your garden produce when the supply chain snaps. It is a bottle of concentrated self-reliance. Item number 5 is baking soda. In a high-stress SHTF scenario, your body becomes an acidic wasteland. Heartburn and indigestion aren't just uncomfortable, they weaken your focus. A half teaspoon of baking soda in water is a chemical neutralizer that brings your system back to balance instantly. Externally, if you are exposed to chemical irritants or toxic stings during a collapse, a thick baking soda paste acts as a drawing agent, pulling toxins out of the skin. It's also your toothpaste and surface cleaner when store-bought chemicals run out. It is the ultimate restorer of equilibrium in an unbalanced world. These 5 items are a decentralized medical infrastructure that no government can seize and no shipping crisis can stop. You have the laboratory in your kitchen right now. The question is, do you have the discipline to stock them before the doors of the pharmacy are locked forever? Let's wrap this protocol up. There is one golden rule to this protocol that you cannot ignore. You must acquire these items before the panic begins. You cannot learn chemistry while your family is sick, and you cannot barter for raw honey when the grocery store shelves look like a war zone. Preparedness isn't about paranoia. It's about taking responsibility for the people you love when the system can no longer do it for you. Your kitchen is not just for cooking anymore. It is your biological insurance policy. Protect it. Learn how to use it, and do it today, because the modern supply chain is running on borrowed time. But having the medicine is only half the battle. What happens when the crisis stretches from weeks into months and your paper money completely loses its value? When the banks lock their doors, your digital savings are gone. In our next briefing, we will look at the new currency of a collapsed world: 7 weird household items that will be worth more than gold or Bitcoin when the grid goes down. Stay sharp, stay prepared. I'll see you in the next briefing.
Thank you for watching.